So, Richard, what do you think?
Well, it's a very sad day. I think it's a sad day for Americans. It's a sad day for the world. It's a sad day for our grandchildren. And obviously, as business people, we have to pick ourselves up on a global basis and just get on and try to sort the problem out ourselves with the other 193 countries around the world and still try to drive towards a carbon-free world in 2050.
Specifically, the business impact, I think, is so important to our viewers at Bloomberg, but I think important to you as well. Talk to me about why climate change is so important and fighting climate change is so important to you and your businesses.
Fighting climate change is important to me as an individual, as a father, as a grandfather of 4 lovely children. In the same way that when the whole world got together to fight CFC gases, they all signed an accord together. They got on top of the problem of CFC gases in a wonderful accord in Canada. This is the first time since then that the world has got together to sign up to something that is really important for our children and grandchildren and for the world we live in. And it just makes me want to cry that a great country like America is abandoning its duty. This was a voluntary agreement. It wasn't an agreement that was going to lumber America with vast expense. The fact is that clean energy is now cheaper than coal, and with the support of government, clean energy can power America by 2050. And then that same clean energy can power it for centuries and centuries just from the sun and from wind. I mean, it's blindingly obvious that the world needs to be run in a way that is clean, that is cheap, and this was the way forward. And it's just sad that America is abandoning its contribution to this and leaving Europe and China and other countries to romp ahead. But because the reason I'm sad is that, as John Donne said 400 years ago, no man is an island, and the carbon emissions from America, there's nothing to stop them, going around the rest of the world, and we do need America to be part of it.
So, says a man who's on an island at this very moment, of course. I wonder, too, if that sort of affects your thinking there, all the sort of things that you do around the world that are so often in the water, and you see this change. Where have you seen, personally, the effects of climate change that have really struck you?
Well, I mean, I've been to Antarctic, I've been to the Arctic, I live on an island, and the effects are just beginning. You can just see it in slightly higher tides, slightly less, quite a lot less ice in the Arctic, glaciers moving backwards. It's just the start, and that's what's so sad. I mean, Trump says that we're only going to reduce it by a tinier bit if we all do this together. That's not the case. If we move quickly and determinedly, we can protect our grandchildren from the effects of climate change, and we can have a wonderful environment that we live in our cities, a clean environment where people are not going to get ill from pollution. We can have fuel that is that we're not in danger of suddenly spiking at $150 a barrel again. It will forever be under $30 a barrel. I mean, I've just come from Aruba, where we just set up on a not-for-profit basis, the biggest solar park. It's now less than 10 cents per kilowatt. It's cheaper, 4 times as cheaper as oil was only 2 or 3 years ago, and the price is coming down and down and down. So it's just incomprehensible that America has a president that is blind. Basically, it's just too sad for words.
It's interesting, though, that we have these sort of the nationalist movements, not just in the U.S., but in the U.K. as well. I mean, the entire Brexit campaign also seems to be focused very much on sort of looking inwardly. And I wonder your notions of Brexit right here. How does Brexit affect both climate and your business interests there?
Look, I think that I personally believe that what happened with Brexit, what happened with Trump, the reaction against both will be so strong and we're beginning to see it in France. I think we'll see it in Germany. That the world will come back to a much more sensible way of, normal way of thinking again, and a thinking where nations will work together again in everybody's interest. I mean, this whole thing about, let's just fight for our country and nobody else's country. Let's just fight for our people, nobody else's people. It's horrible. I mean, it's just, we ought to be a united world that works together and fights for all our interests. And I really do think that there will be a massive rejection of the kinds of policies that are emanating out of America. And I think you'll find that the way the election's going in England, I mean, the party that was for Brexit that had a massive lead, that lead has almost disappeared, and you have a party that was almost left of communism, having a chance of maybe even toppling this party. So I think it's we're in interesting days, but business leaders. I mean, I just like to end on this. That the 1,000 business leaders that of the main companies in America and around the world, we all know that climate change is an issue. We all want to work to fix it. Talking about oil companies as well as car companies, as well as airlines. We all want to fix it for the sake of our grandchildren. We'll get on and do the absolute utmost to get it fixed, even if the American government doesn't support us.